right, good Super Bowl Sunday afternoon to you, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. Looking forward to the big game this evening, so we'll see who's take a look at the forecast in case you're going anywhere today and traveling and going and having some drinks and eating some food, because the food is my favorite part. And just like one of the girls said to me, there are different types of Super Bowl watchers, and apparently, at least according to my kids, I'm the foodie. So yes, I do love the wings and the chili and whatever else that goes along with it. So definitely looking forward to that. I think the Bengals are going to win. I'm hoping the Bengals are going to win. I hope the Bengals are going to win. And because I hope the Bengals are going to win, I think the Rams are going to win. So if you're a betting man, bet against me, just because that just seems to be the way my luck goes. So bet against the Rams, cheer for the Bengals. That's how I'm going. Anyway, taking a look at our current conditions. If you live around the valley right now, you're going to notice plenty of snow out there. The Weather Service did issue winter weather advisories across the northeastern part of North Dakota, northwestern Minnesota, in effect until midnight this evening. And then also special weather statement just basically mentioning that there's going to be some snow out there with snow around an inch or less with gusts up to 30 miles per hour. What I do have up there right now are the advisories. Let's go ahead and take those off. And we can see a little bit better on the radar of what's going on currently across mostly in the western parts of Minnesota right now, but otherwise not a whole lot showing up on the radar. The other thing we have on there is the winds and the gusts. Gusts of 32 miles per hour in Grafton, 36 or so just north of Valley City, 28 in Jamestown. 48 mile per hour gusts right now in Minot. And as you can kind of see from the wind gusts, it's right on the south end of that low pressure system. And that didn't show up. That's what I was worried about. And like that. There you go. Forget to do that every time. Anyway, just on the south side of that low pressure system is where we see that 48 mile per hour gust. And as this low kind of tracks down and meanders down to the southeast, you can expect some of these stronger winds that are here right now to kind of do the same, kind of straggle down to the southeast as well. So I would expect some of those winds to pick up down along the Carrington, Cooperstown, Findlay area. And I'll show you a little bit more of that, maybe into the Fargo area as well, as these winds kind of turn more west to northwesterly once this low pressure system moves on out. Let's take a look at another radar here, and I'll get a little better look at what's going on and where some of these stronger or heavier snowfall has been kind of moving out of the valley right now. Most of the heavier snow right now is in western parts of Minnesota, kind of Crookston through Polk County, Ada, Mahnomen, and then down through Detroit Lakes rather. This area is pretty much expected to continue down to the move to the southeast as that low pressure also moves to the southeast. Looks like I'm having a hard time once again with this computer, with this thing updating, but because it's supposed to be moving and showing you exactly what direction this is going. Maybe I can step this along and it'll work a little better. There we go. Now you can kind of get a better feel for how this is flowing, but some moderate snow going on through western parts, northwestern Minnesota right now, reducing some of the visibilities along with those winds that I had mentioned earlier. So I would expect, those of you kind of from that, Warren area, let's see, like I said, through Crookston, Ada, Mahnomen, you're probably going to be seeing some reduced visibilities right now. And so if you're traveling through there, trying to get to somebody's place, getting ready for the game, those road conditions are going to be deteriorating over the next hour or two. We'll get better here as the afternoon and evening goes along, but the snow will continue to linger on through portions of the evening, as well as some of those wind gusts. And I'll show you that in a bit. Here's a Skycam out of UND. So for those of you who are not from around the eastern part of the state, kind of get an idea for what's going on here. Plenty of, you can kind of get a feel for some of those big flakes that seem to be flying through the air, and not, you know, you got visibilities of a mile or less. Roads right now. This is I-29 just south of Grand Forks, and, you know, looking like some snow on the roadways, probably some drifting as well. Visibilities don't look horrible, but I would imagine there's going to be some spots that aren't going to be great, especially if you're trying to pass any trucks. I don't know if you could see that on the screen where you're looking at, but there is a truck there, and it looks like they are kicking up some pretty good snow fog. So some drifting going on, some snow fog occurring behind some larger vehicles. All these areas looking at some snow. Scattered snow to snow across the roads, across Highway 2, I-29, and then some areas, some side roads through Findlay, Cavalier area as well, looking like they're getting some snow drifts starting to get across the roadway there. And yeah, just looks like, you know, just got to keep it a little bit easy as you travel down the interstate. As we flip over to Minnesota, current conditions as well. Some of these blue areas, that's basically about the same thing. Snow on the roadways, so Grand Forks, Crookston, down through, once again, Ada, Halstead, Pelican Rapids, down to Fargo. That's where some of the areas that are currently showing that you'll see some snow on the roadways. Take a look at the Halstead area and just get a feel for what's going on down there. And pretty much the same thing, snow drifting across the road with some blowing as well. Looks like there's some snow kind of sticking to the roadways, so pretty much follows what you're seeing on the road map. Some scattered snow drifts, finger drifts starting to move across those roadways. So do be careful out there and take it easy. As we take a look at the current conditions here, we can see the winds kind of south and southeasterly in a way. Gusts to 30 miles per hour there, or 30 knots, over 30 miles per hour up in that Walhalla area. Here's the frontal boundary. Here's that low pressure system in through here, and on the backside, winds quickly move out of the west-northwest. Here's that mine out with the 48 mile per hour gusts. And like I said, as this kind of straggles down into the southeast, that's probably where you're going to see more of the stronger gusts as you go into this evening, probably closer to that 8 or 9 o'clock time frame. So just about the time you're going to be heading home. You know, I would think some of these areas are going to be a little bit tougher when it comes to visibility wise. Kind of an interesting little thing that Dylan Voigt out of WDAY was sent from Krista Lynn Gunderson. So this is right around the Buxton area, and it shows a snow devil, which is very, you know, uncommon, but it does happen. And so obviously there was just enough warm air occurring at the ground, some stretching going on with these winds that we currently have, that it's stretching some of these, you know, vorticity tubes, or these wind tubes, if you will, just enough to create a snow devil. So very, very interesting. I can't say that I myself have ever seen one, so that's very cool. So thank you to Dylan Voigt to WDAY for sharing that, and also Krista Lynn Gunderson. So go ahead, and I went and gave him a heart and retweeted it. So if you want to take a look at it, it's also you know, go to Dylan's Twitter feed and check that out. But yeah, very, very cool. Right now, current conditions. This is that NDON map that I show every once in a while. Boy, you can see still snow and no snow, no snow and snow. Minuses 45 degrees down to the southwest. You guys are quite lucky down there. Please send some of that warmer air this way. Although I think the trade-off obviously is going to be just the amount of rain that's going to be, or rain, water on the ground is basically what I'm looking for. I know what we have out here in the east, it's a little dry. It's dry snow, so not a whole lot of liquid in there. But I'm sure those down in the southwest would much rather have something rather than nothing. So this is a good and bad thing. At least they have warm temperatures, but I'm sure they're going to be sweating out some rain later on in the spring. So hopefully that'll change. Hopefully the weather pattern will change for them so that eventually, you know, they'll be getting some precip when it really needs it. Here's the satellite picture. Also, the other thing helping them down the southwest, they don't have any clouds. Looks like, boy, if you could just draw this any better, the clouds basically tracking right over where the snow is. Some of this white that you see down and through here, that is snow, and then where you kind of see the areas moving, that obviously is clouds moving down to the southeast in response to that low pressure system kind of sliding to the southeast. So most of those clouds are just kind of following the snowpack, and actually that can be somewhat common as well. So not a big surprise there, just because there is a difference in temperatures. So and that difference in temperatures can basically create its own little micro system, if you will. So those clouds just kind of banking up against the warmer air and sliding down to the southeast. It's amazing what can happen just on a small scale, but that kind of gives you an idea what can happen with these things. Now we're going to take a look at the models now, and come on, pivotal. Oh, what didn't it like this time? There it is. And here you can see the current conditions, or what the this run is looking at, and you can see most of the snow now is often, or is predicted to be in the northwestern parts of Minnesota, as it is showing up also on radar. That does kind of slide to the east and south as the time period goes along. This is about 6 p.m. this evening. Now, I would expect some areas off in the eastern parts of Minnesota right along, once again, kind of holding in that valley area. Probably still see some light snow occurring throughout the evening. These models don't always pick up everything, but just giving some of the indications I'm looking at in the upper levels, I would expect at least to see some very light snow to still be occurring, albeit you know, most of that heavy stuff is going to be off to the east and south by this time. And once we get into that 8 to 9 o'clock time frame, that low is kind of sitting down to that Detroit Lakes area. So most areas, I would say from the north and west of there, you can expect that snow to pretty much be shut off at that point. Maybe some lingering snow east and just north of there, even though this model isn't predicting it. But I would think that there'll still be a chance of some light stuff there. The main story at this point is going to be the winds, and just any type of gust that's going to be occurring at that time. Stepping through the time frame just with this little model run, you don't really see anything until maybe Monday off in the southwestern part of the state. Again, kind of tries to slip on to the south, but no, let's run up against some warm air and push that north. And then it kind of wants to fizzle out and then eventually move to the northeast. One interesting thing to note here, and I'm going to show this here in a little bit, but look where this low pressure system is coming out of. Instead of sliding down from the kind of north and west like we've been seeing, this one's kind of pulling out more off the southwest. And I'm going to show you that there is some changes in the weather pattern possible that's going to be mixing some things up for us, especially those kind of in the central part of the state and a little bit more in the east as well, but we'll get back to that in a couple frames here. But we'll take a look at the wind gusts as well and what we're expecting. There are those strong winds kind of through Minot. Here you can see that yellow, and if you just kind of follow that on how this particular model wants to pull that down to the south and east and right through where I basically was talking about earlier within that time frame of 8, 9 o'clock, but that Devils Lake, Cooperstown, you know, Carrington, in through Valley City region. It does decrease it some through the time period. So we're still looking probably at gusts at least to 30. You might still see some gusts to 40 miles per hour as well, but that's kind of, you know, as you follow that little area of wind, those areas from that Minot, Jamestown, Valley City, Winter, up through Devil's Lake. If anybody's going to have any issues with some blowing snow towards the back end of that Super Bowl game, if you're going to be traveling, those are probably going to be the most likely areas as far as reduced visibilities at that time. So do be careful out there once you start heading on home from the game. Those winds do decrease through the time frame and overnight, and by 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe some gusts of 20, but nothing really much after that. Moving on through as we get into Monday night and into early Tuesday morning, we start to see some gusts kind of creep back into the region, gusts of 30 or 35 miles per hour down in the southwestern part of the state, and then maybe some 20s to 30 mile per hour in the east as we get into Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. Moving into about noon on Tuesday, this particular model is really showing some strong winds, 45 miles per hour once again. That's the only bad thing. Well, there you can even see some 50s in the yellow here. So even though there's a bit of a pattern shift, we just can't ever seem to get away from this wind. Once again, this is looking at Tuesday on this particular model, Tuesday at noon. Here we're going to show you what I mean a little bit from the pattern shift. Normally, like I said, we've had these systems like this particular one that's affecting us right now kind of dip down and then scooch on out of here. But the difference being on this next one, back on up, there's that one that's moving through us today. Now here comes this next system, and you notice this low kind of lingering out here. Then there's actually another one that's further north, and those are going to be pushing off to the east, and you got kind of a double-barreled type of surface lows, one further north and one down to the south as well. So now we're looking at this Tuesday evening time frame at about 6 p.m. And by this time we've had some snow move across the northern parts of the region through the day on Tuesday, and then some additional snow pulling out with this system that's trying to move out and bring some light snow down to the south, southwest, south central, and even eventually down to the southeastern parts of North Dakota, northwestern Minnesota by Wednesday morning at 3 a.m. The thing that's really going to be capping this off or holding the precip back a little bit is just because this is dipping so low, is what I'm going to be calling the chaser's delight, just because look at the storms that are going to be firing up down in the south. And boy, you look at the weather, people out there, you listen to what everybody's talking about, and everybody's getting excited about this stuff down there just because they finally might be able to go storm chasing. Not going to happen up here for quite a while, although I am looking forward to that time of year. I'm ready for it. Please just give me thunderstorms as opposed to the snow that we've been having. But there you can see how deep this system really starts to dig. So a bit of a feel for how things are changing there. Taking a look at the winds and the temps throughout the period. Closer to home here, that low moves through. These temperatures start to plummet a little bit overnight. Winds do die down, so by the early morning hours, you can see light winds out of the north and the east, southwest and the west. Quite cold as we look into the morning to the minus single digits in the northeast to about 25 in the southwest. It does try to warm up a little bit in the day on tomorrow. Not so much down in the southwest compared to what they've seen. Maybe in that 30s. Off of the northeast, single digits above zero. Thankfully, the winds won't be too horrible as we go through the day, at least tomorrow. Once you get into Tuesday and that little low pressure starts to pull out, now we get those stronger southeasterly winds. It does try to warm up through the day on Tuesday because of this system that's moving through. But like I said, even though it tries to warm up when we get to 20 degrees or so possibly off in the east, we will be dealing with some stronger southeast winds. Just I say it time and time again, it's just hard to get warmer air, especially on snowpack this time of year in this part of the United States. And if it does, we're going to have some winds with it. And so if you remember some of the past map that I showed you, we're looking at gusts to 30 to 40 miles per hour, even possible down in west central parts of Minnesota. So a little bit warmer on Tuesday, but windy once again. Those winds do die off. They move down, switch around to the northwest and colder temperatures move in for Wednesday across much of the area. Even the southwest really doesn't even warm up much on Wednesday. Taking a look at what I mean by just a shift in the longer range here. You can see how these systems have moved down to the, like I said, from northwest to southeast. And then this next one kind of dives a little bit further south, way down in Nevada. Part of the system that we get affected with, here's the trough that affects our area for Tuesday into Tuesday night. And then that one digs on in for Thursday. And then another little clipper system moves through off to the northwest in for Friday, bringing us a little bit more snow. But the thing that to note here is just how deep this next one is showing. Now this is quite a ways out. This is 10 days out, but there are some consistencies with the models that are showing this longer wave pattern. So what that could mean for us, like I said, beyond the 10 days, possibly more of a duration in between snows. However, that does have the possibility of digging these big systems out of the Rockies and pulling off to the northeast, which means when we do get snow, they'll be the wetter, warmer, and heavy, more, we'd be getting more snow as opposed to just these 1, 2, or 3 inch little quick hitters. These are the types of systems that last for a day, and you get 6 to 12 inches. Not saying that that's on the horizon. I'm just saying there's a pattern shift there. A little bit milder temperatures, maybe longer in between systems, but the caveat is bigger systems if it lines up right. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. The good and the bad out there, but we'll see what happens beyond 10 days. Just taking a look at the response at the surface when I talk about how these systems kind of move through. There's that one that moves through on Tuesday into Wednesday morning. High pressure moves in, colder air moves in, back behind that. The next system moves through Thursday night into Friday. Again, brings a little light snow to the north, not a whole lot. Most of the real moisture is kind of trapped down to the south, thanks to this high pressure system that's moving everything off to the southeast. So maybe another inch on Friday. Colder air settles back in and through Friday on Saturday. And then here's the next system that tries to get cranking up out of the south. And this is a little bit what I mean by stronger systems. Now you're getting these snowfalls that could be heavier in through South Dakota, Minnesota. So instead of, affecting just us in areas in the north, now you're getting these deeper systems that are affecting the central parts of the U.S. And then they're going to be creating freezing rain and sleet and all that fun stuff, and some really heavy snow is possible if this does occur. So just kind of showing you what the potential pattern shift could be off in the long range. And then just kind of give you an idea what the high temperatures are expected to be as we go throughout the extended period. Here we're looking at Wednesday into Thursday. And then we are waiting for the computer to catch up. Friday, a little bit into the 20s and 30s, so not too bad. And there we get into the teens in the east on Saturday evening, and 50s down the southwest. And then into Sunday, teens once again, and then 40s southwest. And as we get into next Monday, so over a week from now, we'll see, that now we're getting out there quite a ways, so we're looking at some colder, low temperatures, but you might want to take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, that can change. What you could maybe take out of that is maybe some colder temperatures compared to, obviously, what we'll be seeing later in the week. So more milder temperatures later in the week, thankfully, because this pattern is shifting. But, not to say that there won't be some cold shots of air here and there. This looking like it wants to give us a cold shot, whether it'll be in -4 for a high. I think that might be a little overdoing it. Some of that I might modify here, especially if we are able to get some snow melt and change some things that are going on across our region. So that's basically what you have right now across the area. So there's our current radar. We'll flip it ahead, and well, now we got some snow developing, redeveloping back in Grafton. So and maybe in between that Cavalier and Hallock area. So, like I said, sometimes the models don't always pick everything up. But I would expect it will take until that low pressure system moves down to the southeast before the snow will completely end. So there you can see that, and probably getting a little burst of snow that'll be crossing the interstate here in the next few minutes and reducing the visibilities between that Grand Forks and Grafton area. So, and then as we take a look once again, just the last look at the radar, Thief River, Crookston, Ada, Monoman, down to Detroit Lakes, over to Fargo, moderate snow, some gusty winds in through there. So I would expect conditions to deteriorate. Obviously conditions are deteriorating there as we speak. So do be careful if you're out there traveling. So that's all I've got for you this evening. If anybody got any questions, please go ahead and feel free to ask. As always, please like, please subscribe, please share, and tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Also, go ahead and visit my Facebook page, my Twitter page, which for some reason isn't popping up, I just noticed. But Twitter is Region WX, if you want to get a hold of me there, or Region Weather Live on Facebook. Please share any photos, any kind of videos. It's always very helpful to pass that stuff along. Like that little dust devil, that's kind of an interesting thing. But if you got anybody, if you're in an area where, especially where this moderate snow is occurring, but that'd be great if we'd see some videos out there and just get a good look at what's going on currently. And it would just, it helps others that are possibly watching and traveling, and just to see what you're experiencing, or even if you've got some fun pictures of the weather. But anyway, please be safe. Go Bengals, and we will talk to you, let's see, possibly tomorrow evening. There's not a whole lot going on tomorrow, the way it looks. So we'll see what happens. But I will definitely be on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evening. Have a good night.